What's up, YouTube? It's Real Phils, also known as the Runs Gamble. Um, I decided that even though I'm really not banging with Tekken 8 currently, that I might as well use my knowledge in the game to make some content. So, today, what I wanted to do was, it is unscripted, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to take some replays of like um, Keisuke, Makari, and Boa Loveby, playing Kazuya. So basically, like, Mishimas. And explain the practical concepts behind the things that I talked about in my straight up Tekken series. I'm trying to grow my Discord server as well. So, if you just want to come in there and talk Tekken, maybe you have some other interests. I'm trying to get like, a bigger community set up in there. But I'd appreciate it if you came and checked it out. Hasn't been that active currently, but I'm about to start working on it. I'm about to start putting more effort into stuff. But um before we look at these replays, let me just start the game. And let me just start the game, go to training mode, and then basically show like some of the stuff that I am going to be bringing attention to start with in these replays. It is the stuff that I basically covered in straight up Tekken, but and I'm also going to be showing. I'm going to be looking at replays from T8 and Tekken 7 today. But let's just start with the basic concepts that I want you to pay attention to. And for Mishimas, it's actually very simple. So, if we're in range 1 with a Mishima, we have to dash electric. But if we're at round start distance, then electric will hit. So we have regular. So we have regular spacing, so to speak. So you have that. If you're a backdash away, you have to dash electric. Dash electric doesn't necessarily cover range 2 with fastest. You have to do deep dash electric. But so essentially with a Mishima, you have 2 spaces that matter. Basically at all times. You have this spacing right here, so like this round start spacing, because electric will hit. Then you have dash electric spacing. So you have those 2 spacer boxes. So for this, I might try and put like a ruler at the bottom of the screen or something like that. I want you to pay attention to the spacing that these cosplayers always are playing in. The third thing is that once you are outside of dash electric range, right, you don't have the frames to say for example that I do this. So I'm a whiff jab and then do forward 4. If I'm in dash electric range, I don't actually have the frames to dash into a character like freely, right? But like if I do this, wait a minute. So if I'm in dash electric range, I take extra frames to actually be able to get my electric out. But that's mitigated by like basically if the opponent attacks you and whiffs, this is actionable. But if I'm back here, it isn't actionable. Let me just back up like very far. So this is always gonna hit me. So when you play a Mishima, when you get to this spacing, like the range 3 to range 4, you don't have access to your win condition because you can no longer contest the opponent. So what you have to do is, like in those situations, is you want to wave block to make them whiff, so you have the ability to whiff punish. And wave block is also how you open up like somebody that's like fuzzy in your offense, like with a Mishima. So you also have access to that. But the thing that I want you to pay attention to is this standstill electric spaces. So this, like, you know, because this is range 0, this range 1 area, and then after that, this range 2 area. And then, you know, this like far range, this like range 2.5, like 2.7, where you have to do deep dash electric. So that's just what we starting with. That's the thing that I want you to pay the most attention to, is the spacing that the players play in. And you're going to notice, without me even fully watching the replays, I watched some of them, but I can tell you this now, that you're going to notice that these players, for example, they want to keep you around here at most. They might go out of this spacing, but that'll be to get the opponent to move forward or try and get them to press a button. Even in a game like T7 where the backdashes are better than this game, like even in games with movement, you will see that. But what I want you to keep in mind, again, like just before we start watching these replays, is this spacing right here, this like range 1, and this range 2 spacing. And this range 1 and this range 2 spacing, the opponent cannot like consistently contest you because you had the frames to basically blow them up for doing things. So for example, the range 2 spacing where I have to dash, right? Even with that, if you whiff a button, then I have the ability to take advantage of that. And if I'm back here, I can't really like dash into you to actually get a good whiff punch. Like I have to sit here and do that. That's a very slow recovering button. So if I was to do this, and let's say that I backed up, so if I do this, you see that I can't necessarily like whiff punish easily on reaction because I have to sit there and dash in. I have to try and counter hit him. And even then, if I'm too far away, by the time I visually confirm that he whiffed, so see, like if I'm in my optimal spacing where they can't contest me, then I'm fine. But as soon as I'm in a situation where they're allowed to whiff at this range right here, I can't really do as much. And if I try to dash into him like that, what ends up happening is I either get clipped or I get hit or I get whatever. So then I would have to do wave block. So that's the important thing. But this is the other element. So I see a lot of mishima players, especially like lower level ones, they try to do keep out electrics, right? Keep out electric at a range where you have the space control and the dominance. So when you're at a range of this or this, where you can do standstill electric or dash electric, where you have like complete control of the spacing because they're not allowed to whiff, and they also really can't contest you because they don't have a good enough button for the frames that won't whiff, and you can also like potentially go into a jab with electric. Like that's not going to be completely consistent, but that's the option that you have. But a lot of them, they'll do keep out electric at these ranges, right? That is not good. That is not good to do. That is not good. Let me tell you what you actually supposed to do. And this is something I covered in my advanced mishima thing on Straight Up Tekken, I'm pretty sure. You want to, so FF3 is a defensive counter, defensive launcher. Like it's a defensive launcher. A lot of times when you hit it, you're gonna actually counter hit somebody. What does it mean by a defensive launcher? This is what I mean. If my opponent is back here, and this is important. So let's say that I'm fighting another mishima, and they're sitting here doing this, right? If my opponent is doing that, and I'm back here, so I'm outside of my optimal range, this now becomes basically safe on whiff, because for them to not have to block it, they have to stop short back there. If I had a full space control, so let's say they was fuzzying or something. So they cannot really whiff punish that. Like most characters cannot whiff punish that in a way that's actually substantial to even get a whiff punish at all if you actually space it correctly. And that like range 3.5 to range 4.5 spacing. Most characters cannot get like even a decent whiff punish on that because it's too dangerous for them to walk into you and try and prevent you from doing this at this range. But what that also means is that doing electric for keep out and your optimal range isn't good, because the opponent does have the ability to, if they want to, they do have the ability to whiff punish it, because you're also in that whiff punishable range. So if you're going to do keep out electrics, it needs to be outside of your dash electric range, so that way the opponent basically has no chance of trying to whiff punish you. And if they're trying to do like lazy approaches, as you know, as you might call it, then you're not going to end up in a situation where the opponent just gets to do dumb shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big problem that a lot of mishimas be dealing with. But just to reiterate one more time, the thing that we need to pay attention to when we look at these replays is we need to look at the spacing. So we need to look at how frequently they're within this we need to look at how frequently they're within this you know, this standstill electric range, this dash electric range. We need to look at how frequently we're there. We also need to look at how frequently they're at spacing to do FF3 or electric keep out uncontested. And the last thing that we need to keep track of is we need to look at how they use wave dash and wave block. And this is what you use to actually open somebody up that has good defense. You use your timing with your wave block. If you combine all these correctly, you basically going to be uncontestable, because, as I said, straight up Tekken, electric is a counter hit launcher. That means that you use it to read timing safely, right? And that'll force them to duck. But if they're ducking, and T8 especially, you can hit them with this. You can wave block in the FF2. You can do a bunch of different things. You can get in their face. You can do regular dashes. And then if they try to step, you do the late electric, you know, to catch the sidewalk or to catch the side step. You have a bunch of different options. But I'm going over all this again because to actually like get anything out of these replays, we're gonna have to pay attention to this. So I'm about to boot up the replays so we can actually check out, like, you know, what's going on with that. And I'll catch you there. But keep these things in mind, because they're going to be very important for actually getting anything out of this.